Okay, good morning. Welcome to all of you to Samarthya Foundation's signature program in association with SNIC Rehab Foundation, our Samruddhi series, which is designed for parents of children with disabilities and adult siblings. We are here today with our monthly expert, Mr. Rahul Kelapure, and today our session is going to be focused on creating an emergency fund and health insurance. Again, welcome to all of you here. Just want to introduce myself for a minute. जो लोग पहली बार हमारे सेशन में join हुए हैं, for them. My name is Shivani Pandit. I'm the founder of Samarthya Foundation. I'm a special educator. I've been working in the field of autism for the past 25 years in the United States, which is where my foundation is based out of. And I have a lot of projects that I'm working on currently in India to support families of children with disabilities. Some of the things that we focus on at Samarthya Foundation is to create public awareness on topics related to inclusion of children with disabilities. We work on providing teacher training, professional development, and most importantly, providing parent training and support, which is the topic that is closest to my heart, and which is why we are here today. Very, very happy to launch these webinar series with Mr. Rahul, who is a financial guru, and we are here to address all your questions and concerns with respect to financial planning, for your children with disabilities, or if you have any siblings with disabilities. That is our focus with this. And once again, if you're joining us for the first time, we have been meeting monthly, last Sunday of every month, to focus on a specific topic related to financial planning. So here we are today. I'd like to welcome my partner, Harshali Kharche from SNIC Rehab Foundation, to share just a little bit about SNIC, and then we will move on to the session. I'd like to say that if you have any questions during the session, please, you can use the chat box, you can message us, and we will make sure that all your questions get answered by Rahul ji, either most likely by the end of the session, once his PowerPoint presentation is done. Harshali?
Thank you, Shivani ma'am, and very welcome everyone from SNIC Rehab and Samarthya Foundation. I'm Harshali Kharche. I'm the founder and the director of the SNIC Rehab Foundation. We are based in Nagpur. I'll just slightly tell you about the SNIC. Our motto here is to create awareness about various disabilities, sensitize the society about the inclusion, acceptance, and various interventions. Here we are here to establish the support system in various areas. Those are lacking in somewhere, like advocacy, emotional, mental health, child development, and mainly financial sector, that we are coming up with this series of webinar. Also, I would like to work to sensitize government personnel and eminent personality of the society about the challenges faced by special needs community. In Nagpur, especially, we are coming up with various one project which will have various support center, and our your motto here is to educate the parent and develop their perspective towards the right kind of interventions and treatments. Today, we have Mr. Rahul Kelapure with us. I mean, we are doing this series of financial, which I'm sure it will be very much helpful for the parents. And I think I'll hand over to Mr. Rahul. He can start on this. Rahul, sir.
Uh, thank you so much, Harshali, and thank you so much, Shivani, uh, for inviting me for this monthly webinar series. Uh, I'm really excited as we are going ahead with the uh, with this series, uh, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to really make a difference in people's life here, especially the parents and the adult siblings of the persons with disability uh, of various kinds. And I think this is very close to my heart. This part. One thing is that the financial education. That's one, and the other thing is for the persons with disability, where I can actually contribute in their life. Now, as I've been saying that, this is extremely important when we talk about the financial education or financial planning, because I have come across a lot of people who are worried about their child who's person with disability, or especially person with intellectual disability at number of times, where they're so concerned after them, what's going to what's going to happen to their child. uh, and one important way through which we can actually ensure that they live a dignified and meaningful life, uh, now and in the future, is really to make enough provisions for them in terms of in terms of finances, right? Because uh, in that case, they can be supported by their friends or family or other people, whoever, if there's enough finances ensured for them, that that there's at least the finances are taken care of for them. So I think that's an important thing. Now, I actually thanks so much to all the participants here for coming on this Sunday morning. I know it's not easy really to get up in the morning, do things, and I mean, today being holy, a lot of you might be um, having some other stuff to do, and in spite of that, you have taken out time and you are here. So thank you so much for being here. Um, so today's topic that we have is extremely important. Um, I would say probably these are the first two steps, probable first two steps, which are extremely important for anybody, whether it's a person with disability or not. But it's for everyone. This is an extremely important point. Today we'll be talking on two things essentially. Uh, First is the creation of emergency fund, and which is how to make it, why it is important, uh, how to go about that. So we'll understand all of that now, and then we will of course talk about the health insurance. Now, this is an important thing because both these topics actually are extremely important when we are making a financial planning. Why? Because no matter how good a financial plan you have, if these two things are not taken care of at the appropriate time, it can actually wipe out all your savings and investment in one go. Um, and considering the uncertainties that we have, whether it's about the present corona situation or something else, generally also life is not life is not really predictable. Life would actually shoot you for point blank. It doesn't really give you any kind of warning to to make you prepare for any kind of financial emergency or health emergency for that matter. So having said that, let's now dive straight into our topic, and let's actually understand what is the emergency fund. Now, what is the emergency fund? Now, emergency fund is the fund which is actually created, which would actually support you in times of emergency. Like what? Like in a situation where there is a sudden loss of job, or sudden some big expense coming up for you, and this emergency fund actually would really help you. And it's an important thing for you to survive in a situation. As they say in Hindi, jaan hai to jahan hai. Aaj agar today, if you're surviving, able to handle yourself, or take care of yourself today, then in all probabilities you'll fight for another day, and you'll be able to deal with the situation in a powerful way tomorrow. So it's an important factor, right? So what are those unforeseen expenses that could actually arise for you, right? Which could actually include the unforeseen medical expenses, or sudden big expense, as I said, some replacement is required, emergency, anything which is really required, which requires your immediate attention, right? So that's the emergency fund that one has to really take care of, especially in terms of uh, loss of job, or loss of employment, or loss of or any issue in terms of your monthly earnings, right? Whether be it from your business or from the employment. Now let's actually understand, why do I need the emergency fund? Now, why do I need? As I said, it's an important thing because um, in all the circumstances in life, whatever you are doing, money plays an important part. If you want to buy some maybe 5 kg wheat or rice or whatever it is, from that to maybe soaps and everything else, you need some money to spend. Now, this actually emergency fund creates the buffer for you. It actually helps you to survive, as I said, right? Now, it is important actually, if you are having some debt, if you're having some loans, or um, any liabilities that you have. So it is extremely important to have the emergency fund, because if there's a in fact, a lot of people have uh, this issue where they don't get their salaries on time. They are doing good in their life, but they don't get the money on time. It is possible that the salaries may come late. Um, in a lot of private sector jobs, I've seen that many times the salaries come a little late, and if you already have the liabilities with you, which are coming up, especially like things like EMIs, it is going to really uh, uh, going to be helpful if you have the emergency fund, right? So now let's actually understand. Now, having understood the importance of the financial of the emergency fund, and uh, why I should have it. Now, let's actually understand how much I should say. Now, that's a very uh, a little, I would say, a difficult question, uh, which could actually depend on case to case basis. However, this is an important, very important question. Why? Because one actually has to know the real number in order to actually start building the emergency fund. So if you haven't if you haven't made any emergency fund so far, I would say start with, say, maybe 50,000 and a 1 lakh rupees. Right? It can just be there. It can just remain there as a as a as a uh, as a amount which can be utilized at any time whenever required, right? Um, so this is one thumb, like, easiest way I've just shared with you. But if I have to elaborate this, how much really I have to have it as a emergency fund, it actually, as I said, actually really depends on the kind of circumstances you have, and the kind of financial liabilities that you have, the assets that you have. But as a general rule, you can have about 3 to 6 months of your survival expenses that you can actually make out, and this much should be your the amount that you should be able to set aside uh, in case of any emergency for use, right? Um, However, this is again a general rule, 3 to 6 months. You could actually say maybe 3 to 6 months of a salary, or you could say 3 to 6 months of the expenses that are extremely important for you to have. So you can have this amount in place. Right. Um, the important factor is that you have to have some money. With something. Put some money aside as a beginner, as a beginning to your financial independence. Now you would say, okay, fine, I understood how much I need to save, how much I have to have as an emergency fund, how it is important, why I should have it, and all of that. Now you'll say, okay, where do I put this money at? A lot of people would say, put it in the uh, put it in the uh, FDs, or put it in the uh, relatively safer instruments like uh, invest in some bonds, or some safe mutual funds. However, that could be that is not such a bad idea. However, the important thing here is the availability of that fund. Um, as some time back I've shared with all of you that it is extremely important for all your investments to have it liquid, to have the liquidity in it. You should be able to actually get the money back in your hand whenever you require it. Now, one way could be to put it in the put it under your pillow, right? I mean, put it in the cash and keep it in your wardrobe. Um, but that's not such a great idea, because um, number one is that as we all understand, money loses its value over the period of time, right? um, and then again, it's not safe. There's a risk of it being stolen, or there is a risk of it being uh, all sorts of things. uh, and also there's a possibility, if you have that money at home, and if there's not even a financial emergency, but you may be tempted to spend that amount on less important requirements that may come up over the period of time. So what you should do, you actually ideally should put this amount in a bank account, in a savings bank account, or even there are some FDs that actually can be broken just with a click of a button online. You could actually consider them, where this money that you uh, can actually utilize whenever it is required for you. So easy. Um, I would actually suggest, if possible, put this money in a separate bank account. Now, why do I say so? Because if you see the amount kept in your bank account, you again, as I said, you may be tempted to spend this money for some less important requirements, uh, and the whole purpose of putting your money aside for the financial emergency could be defeated. Now, therefore, it is important to actually have a separate bank account and just keep it aside, right? Keep it aside. Um, and so that it could be only used at the time of financial emergency and nothing else, right? So that's one part of it. Um, as I said, it's really important. As you could probably have this money parked in an interest bearing high, if possible, whichever bank is giving you a good amount of interest in the savings account, you should put that, because as I said, the liquidity is the must. Right? Now you would say, okay, now fine, we understood if we got to keep it in the bank account, interest bearing bank account where I could actually withdraw it at any time. I would say, okay, how do I build the emergency fund? First things first, you got to first understand how much money I really require for in this emergency fund. It could actually depend on the kind of frequency of your salary, how risky is your financial situation, and how frequently you receive the payments. If you receive the payments regularly, your your financial emergency fund could be a little less. If it's more, then the amount could be more. If you're maybe in the government sector, probably your requirement for the emergency fund could be less. However, it is still there. The requirement is definitely there, but then the requirement could be a little less. But if you're working in a private organization where the salaries are not on time, as I said some time back, you could have it at the amount should be a little higher in order to support you in case of financial emergency. Actually, you can make a simple Excel sheet, uh, you know, uh, make a sum total of the monthly cost that you have to anyway require to survive, and multiply into 3 or 6, depending on your circumstances, and start building it. That could be one way. In fact, there are some emergency fund calculators that you get it online. If you just Google it, it is all available. So you could actually take help of that. There are some Excel sheets that you get, and that would help you to do this. Right? You could actually have a small habit. There are two ways. Actually, you could put some money aside as soon as you receive your salary or your payments. You could put some money aside in that emergency fund account till the time you actually build it, right? Because over the period of time, you'll have to increase it considering the inflation and the other expense and the increase in the expenses depending on the circumstances. So you can actually have it separate, this amount, right? And you can actually start it small every month, so that actually you don't feel that pressure to build this fund. Other thing that you could actually do, as we used to do it in our childhood, we would just put some coins aside and put it in a what is it called? I think Piggyback or something like that, where you just put that money aside, and one fine day you break it. Once it's full, oh my God, you see a lot of money. So we have learned it in our, especially in the Indian society, we are used to, we are used to these small savings that we've been doing since our childhood. So we could actually utilize this way also. You could actually have some change, whenever you have some change money with you, put it aside, and maybe after a month or 6 months or whenever it is full, take out that money and put it in the bank, or put that money in the bank so that your emergency fund is created. This is another way that you could actually do. It could actually look very a small thing, but this way actually it would not only put you in the habit of saving, but it will also make your task of building your emergency fund much more easier. Now, as we understood the emergency fund. So emergency fund is, as I said, it's really, really important and extremely important. And I cannot emphasize the importance of emergency fund enough in my whatever period of time I've been discussing this with you. Now let's actually, and I would request, if you have any questions regarding that, regarding this emergency fund bit, keep your questions coming in, and we'll address it at the end of the program as much as possible. Now let's go to the second part of our session today, and that is health insurance. What is the health insurance? What's the health insurance policy? Now, all of us know, right? What is health insurance? Health insurance is the insurance which is useful in terms of any health emergency. Now, health insurance actually would cover your medical expenses. So far, even now in India, we are not really used to the health insurance so far. We are not so used to it. So till now, because in India we still hope. I mean, everywhere probably we still hope nothing would happen to me, and I hope so. Nothing really happens to us, and I wish all of us, all the great health. However, as I said, life would shoot you point blank from the point blank range. It doesn't give you any opportunity. I have the enough example, enough people around me who have been doing financially very, very well, but with a sudden small thing happening in their life due to some illness or some accident or something else, and all their financial situation had gone for a toss. All the financial planning had gone for a toss, and that has actually created a lot of issues in their life ever since then. Now, therefore, it is really important to have the insurance plan. Now, it is more so if you have, if you are a parent of a person with disability, or you are a sibling of a person with disability. Now, why? Because, somewhere in their life, they would require your support. They would require your support so that, small things in life, their life is, the quality of their life is much better. Now, if that does not happen, if something really happens to you, then even in their life, there's going to be a huge impact, which is probably even worse than the impact on somebody else, probably. And I'm talking about especially in the cases of if you have somebody in your life who's having the intellectual disability. Now, I don't want to talk about it more, because I got that you all of you are aware of the kind of situation it may arise if you don't have the financial, if you don't have the health insurance. Now, I have to have the one actually has to have the health insurance because of two things. One, in order to take care of your finances, if something happens, all your finances may be totally wiped out. That's one. The other thing really is to have a peaceful life, because although right now you may not have any ailment or any issues right now, but you would be under constant stress where you would always think, oh my God, if something happens to me, if I'm not well, what is going to happen? And I think to give you that peace of mind, which is extremely important, because many times, unfortunately, what we do is, uh, in terms of planning our finances, we do a lot of complicated financial planning, but the simple things like this we miss out on. And that is how we actually lose out on the real benefits of the financial planning. It's as good as not doing any financial planning. So, having said that, now we've understood why we should have, what is insurance, what is health insurance, why should we have it, and what's the importance of financial the insurance, health insurance, right? Um, it is important to understand, if you have the health insurance, not only it is important to have it, but also it would help you to deal with your uh, tax planning. Because if you have it, you would be you would save a lot of income tax if you're a taxpayer. Uh, if you are a if you are either 20% or 40%, 50%, as the case may be. If you have somebody who's a senior citizen, um, for whom you are paying the premium in your life, maybe your parents or somebody else, uh, you could actually take the benefit of the income tax rebate, as per the section 80D of the Income Tax Act. Right? Of course, it can actually keep changing, but largely it's going to be there, right? So the tax rebate is there. So this is really important. Now let's understand a few things, like what is TPA. What is TPA? TPA is a third party administrator. What has actually happened in the third party administrator is like, um, IRDA uh, is the Insurance Development and Regulatory Authority of India, IRDAI, which takes care of the insurance sector in India. Now they have come up with the TPA, the third party administrator. What actually it essentially does is actually it helps you to put your to assess your claim, to analyze your claims, to give you a prompt service. At the same time, of course, it helps the insurance companies to reduce their overheads cost, where they don't have to process all the claims all the time, and their money and their time and everything else is really saved. Uh, so third-party administrators are the independent agency which gives you a service which would actually help you to get your claim, to get your policy done, and to do this basic analysis of the health insurance. So this is a very, very important intermediary that insurance sector has of late. Now we have to also understand, as we've seen that in many times we have to actually understand it is better to have the health insurance as early as possible in life. Now, why do I say so? Because over the period of time, we actually end up having some kind of health issues, like these days BP, sugar, this, that, and most of the insurance policies, health insurance policies, do not cover the pre-existing ailments right from the day one. What actually happens really is that they ask for a cooling off period. What is the cooling off period? The cooling off period is the period where they would say a certain specified period of time after which your pre-existing diseases would be covered under the health insurance policy. So therefore, it is important to have the policy as soon as possible. Um, there are some insurance policies which would actually help you in getting the preventive healthcare. Now, we have been hearing a lot of times, preventive health checkup, comprehensive body health checkup, and stuff like that. What happens is that in these when we buy these insurance policies, lot of companies give you benefits of having the insurance, rather the health checkup, annual health checkup, and they would provide either give you a discount or some special services on that. So that would also help you to get your insurance. The insurance would actually help you to get your routine health checkups done in terms of your getting some discount, saving some money on that, right? There are, of course, some limits and sublimits in your insurance plans. Like there are room rent sublimits, where there are actually various kinds of sublimits, but the most common of them is the room rent, where there could be the room rent of your policy uh, of your hospitalization should be a specified amount. If it is exceeding that, then you'll have to pay the additional cost from your pocket. So you'll have to actually see what's what really happens in terms of that, right? So you got to be aware of that. So we've actually understood few basic concepts of the insurance policies, health insurance policies, right? Now let's actually go to a very, very important topic, probably the most important part of our insurance, of our topic today, and that is insurance for disabled persons, right? Um, See, I have come across various people who have been really struggling with the health insurance for to get the health insurance for their for a person with disability in their life, whether it's a physical disability or it's an intellectual disability. That has been a constant issue, and I have been in touch with IRDA and some other people in some insurance companies also, um, to see what best can be done to provide this to have this issue resolved for persons with disability, this health insurance issue resolved for them. I have spoken to a lot of uh, the compliance heads of the insurance companies and some actuaries of insurance companies who have their own points to talk about why they don't want to give, or why they are hesitant to give the health insurance, provide health insurance for a person with disability. However, as the government says, and as all the insurance companies in their advertisements say, that insurance is the subject matter of solicitation, then I think it's an important thing. It is imperative for the insurance companies to find out some way to deal with this situation. Now, okay, having said that, let's see what are the provisions right now. What is the situation right now for persons with disability in terms of getting the health insurance for them? Now, who is disabled as per the insurance companies? Now, it could be it could be an intellectual disability, right? Uh, it could be an accidental disability if somebody has some accident and become a disabled person, and of course that is also cleared, which could be of any limb, you know. Or the third type could be a congenital disability, which is generally a disability happening from by birth, or which is a sensory disability like blindness, or an orthopedic disability, or person with hearing and speech impaired persons, right? Uh, Now, actually, there are some insurance policies that the government has come up with. Unfortunately, those insurance policies are not really popularized. God knows why. Um, but I think this is why I have the opportunity uh, to share all this with you, so that either it could be useful for you, or you could make other people understand about this whole thing, and maybe it could be useful for people around you who may be benefited. So let's talk about this Nirmalya health insurance. This is actually a government-backed health insurance policy, which would give about a 1 lakh health insurance for persons with intellectual disability, right? Uh, uh, Here, of course, there are some criterias. Again, who could get this insurance policy? And that is like, if your monthly, the family's income is 15,000 a month, uh, then you have to pay 250 rupees as an insurance premium, or it could be a 500 rupees per month. Now, see, the thing is, why this is important policy is especially because, as all of you may be experiencing, or some of you may have experienced, many times you don't have the companies, the health insurance companies forthcoming, who could actually give the health insurance for person with intellectual disability, especially um, considering the fact that they are scared, the insurance companies are scared that they are the high risk people for them. And of course, finally, these health insurance companies are in the business of uh, and want to earn some money, of course. So they don't want to have take that additional risk, right? So it takes a lot of time at times to explain them, to help them, to make them understand that it is important. But at the same time, since this is an important thing for us, we have to have this. So this Nirmalya health insurance could be a extremely useful thing, right? Uh, um, okay, now
Ralji, sorry to interrupt. Just for a
yeah.
second, there are a couple of questions that are coming up on the Nirmalya health insurance policy for children with autism. And if you
Uh-huh.
had any specific points on insurance for autism, if you would like to address it now, or would you like to wait for it later?
No, I'll just address it right now.
Thank you.
Essentially, autism is very well covered under this policy, as per my understanding. It is definitely covered. You could actually get that, and I would say, see, many times there's a pre hospitalization and post hospitalization expenses also. Um, so those also are covered. Of course, the insurance coverage is I would say is low, really, but still, since this policy is especially is made for the for disabled people, of course autism is pretty much covered. If you have any specific thing to ask, of course we can either talk about it at the end of the session, or if you have anything specifically to ask, then of course we could you could get in touch with me over email, and I could probably help you in some more details if you have any specific thing to ask. Yeah, I hope that addresses this question. Uh, uh, is there any other question, Shivaniji,
Um,
on this?
I think that there's just one question that came up that said, is there a chance to increase cover under this Niramaya scheme?
No, actually, no. Unfortunately, not. That's been a major drawback of this policy. Uh, in fact, again, since I have been working in this side, so I've actually spoken to some people um, in the government also to kind of issue a notification to actually increase this policy, because 1 lakh is very, very low in a way. So, but many times it takes a lot of time to to get the government decision, to have everything done uh, quickly. So it is taking its time. I don't know. I don't have presently any update on that, whether they're going to increase this limit or not. I'm not sure about that so far.
Okay. And there's one
But if
more.
you,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, but if all of us are actually wanting to probably all of us could probably do something about it. So far I have been doing this all alone. Probably all of you could be my support system, since you are the people who get affected with this kind of a issue, right? Straight I mean, directly affected.
Yeah.
So it would really help.
That's a really good point, I think, or to all the parents here and family members. I think maybe there has to be some more concerted effort from all of our side to make some change, because there's one point and then there's one more question before we move on, Rahulji.
Sure.
Is there only one government policy that covers up to 1 lakh for special needs person? And then the second question is, what is the right age to take the Niramaya insurance? So is it true that there's only one government policy? This is the only one that we have?
No, actually, there are a couple of other policies. Like, for example, there is that we will be talking about is Swav. This is again for disabled persons, but unfortunately, uh, some other policies have been implemented by the insurance companies themselves, and those insurance companies are not really as interested. This is like a welfare kind of a measure that they consider it, and they're not really forthcoming in selling these policies. Um, and in fact, there's another policy which nowadays it's called what uh, uh, what is that? Modi government's big policy, which is for health insurance kind of policy. I'm just the name is just slipped out of my mind. Um, Ayushman Bharat, Ayushman Bharat Yojana. That is another policy which would also cover. Now, that again, that does cover people with disability, persons with disability, and including the persons with intellectual disability. But again, the issue there is that this Niramaya Yojana is what is happening is that this is especially for the person with disability, intellectual disability, but um, since this Ayushman Bharat Yojana is for everyone, and although persons with disability are included in that, but many those what is it called? There's some Arogya Mitra, they call it, like the people who assist you to get your claim processed and stuff like that. Those people, unfortunately, are not aware of this these insurances. So at the time of giving the claim, there has been a lot of issues that have been faced by lot of us. So I have been hearing a lot of these issues. Uh, so there are policies, and in fact, there are some mainstream policies also. If you have a family floater cover type of a insurance policy, some policies do cover um, the disabled persons also, provided you actually tell them upfront that you got to declare it straight away, and they will cover it. Some of the policies, of course, they would have a premium loading on that, which again I'm not sure whether how whether it's really worth doing that, because um, if you have a premium loading, first thing is that you are giving more premium. And if you have any issue, I mean, if you require to utilize your insurance, and at that time if the insurance claim is not processed on time, it's again a mental hassle for all of you. So um, I would suggest go for these plans, health insurance plans provided by the government, and maybe you could additionally have some other plans also if required.
So there is a little bit of discussion happening on the chat box around, someone had asked the question, what is the right age to take this Niramaya insurance? If you have a child with autism, he's 11 years old. So your take on that, and then the conversation was about, is there a disability certificate required? And I guess it is, and that a parent has already answered that.
Yes.
But I think the age part would be, I would assume, as early as possible, correct?
As early as, definitely as early as possible. Now, in this policy, however, it doesn't really make a difference at what age you're buying it, provided that you're falling um, in the other criterias of the scheme, especially for this Niramaya. But uh, it is in our own interest to have this policy as early as possible, because we don't know when the health emergency would strike. So it's in our interest. However, in other cases, um, the age does matter. At what is your age in terms of calculating your insurance premium. But in this case, it really doesn't matter, because the premium is fixed. So it really doesn't matter much at what age you're starting. But of course, uh, jab jago tab sabera, if you got to know now, do it as soon as possible. And as far as the insurance, as far as the disability certificate, whether it's required, it is required, because that's why the beneficiaries of the schemes are a particular set of class of people, and without the disability certificate, that wouldn't really be possible for you to get the this insurance policy.
Thank you. Should I move on, Rahulji?
Sure. So as we were talking about, so we've talked about the Niramaya Yojana. We will quickly touch base on the Swavalamban. Now, this insurance plan has been been run by what is it called? Some public sector general insurance companies in India. I have. I'm aware. I think New India Insurance and the National Insurance Company have been running this. In my knowledge, I am not sure about the other two insurance companies whether they have been running or not. I have spoken to a couple of branch managers of these insurance companies, and first thing is that they were not really aware of it initially, but then um, when I spoke to them, they actually found out, and they said, yes, we'll do that. And they actually told me that we would, if you know some people, we would definitely cover the relevant people under this policy. But nothing really has happened in that policy also so far. I mean, it's not, as I said, the companies are not so forthcoming in this. Here, I think about about, I think earlier the cover was about 3 lakh rupees. The cover was provided for disabled persons, um, and it's easy. I mean, the paperwork is much less. But the thing is, again, this policy is available for only for people whose uh, monthly income is less than 30,000 rupees. And I think since it covers 30,000 rupees as a monthly income, there'll be a lot of people who could be benefited out of this policy. Uh, I'm not really sure about that. I would stand corrected. I'll check that, but probably they have increased this limit up to 5 lakh rupees now. That is what I understand. So this is another Swavalamban policy, which could be a good policy for person with disability. Right? Now, no matter what policy you are taking, they would first check your health, right? In fact, there are some health insurance companies which would provide you health insurance just with the declaration, right? On the basis of just a declaration that they would ask you a number of questions and they would then give you health insurance. However, if you are getting a health insurance which is of a substantial amount, then most of the companies actually ask you to go through the health checkups, the health test, the blood test, and some sets of tests that they want to have. I would prefer, it is better to get the health insurance with which would provide you health insurance after the health tests. Now, why do I say so? Because in many cases, I've been seeing that they have declared something. The customer we have declared something, and then after that, the insurance companies come and they say, no, you haven't declared that. This is that, and this, because many times we may not actually understand also that what means what. I mean, and we may actually innocently end up writing something else, which could be a bone of contention at the time of getting the claim from the insurance company. Right? So that is one thing. It is extremely important to actually declare as to what is my, to declare all the true information. And this is, I can't emphasize emphasize the importance of this enough, considering this probably is the single most important thing while buying insurance policy. Now, what happens is, in order to reduce the premium or for something else, your insurance agent sometimes, or even you yourself, in some circumstances, you may just say, okay, no, this is just a small thing. I can just write whatever I feel like. And at the time of getting the claim, that is the biggest issue to get your insurance. So it is important to give all true and correct information to them. We should actually have the health insurance, depending on the kind of health insurance requirement of the family, like what is your family income, monthly income, and stuff like that. Now, why I say so, because there are some insurance policies, health insurance policies, which would actually, in case of any major ailment, they would actually support you get some monthly money. I think there is a situation where, if there is a situation where a person is unwell for maybe 2 months or 3 months, where no employer is going to give them the salary for 2-3 months, 4 months, right? In that case, a small amount, or depending on what insurance policy that you bought, would support you with the monthly some income, some contribution that you could be financially help you. Um, so you should actually look at that aspect as well while buying an insurance policy, health insurance policy. Right? And of course, one has to really take care of the premium paying capacity. I mean, how much has the premium can you pay as of now, and from time to time, you got to actually keep that in mind, that the premium, you could actually keep the insurance cover increasing as per the inflation, as per the you know as we have been seeing, the everywhere the costs are increasing. So consistent to that, we should consider increasing the health insurance part as well in our lives, right? uh, Now, whether you're buying a health insurance plan, or uh, or any private insurance company's plan, you got to really be careful about the kind of documentation as you are doing. As I said, you got to give them the all true and correct information. You got to check it and double check the information whether it is correct or not. uh, you also, and you got to be really careful in terms of the documentation of that. You got to go through all the documentation, read all the documentation, and then respond, and then sign that dotted line. uh, there is a insurance, I mean, if you've spent some money on the health, or the treatment of a disabled person or a disabled child, you could actually get the deduction under section 80 of the income tax act, where uh, about 50,000 rupees uh, rebate that you get. This is, of course, on actuals that you get, um, and you could claim that deduction from the insurance, from the income tax. That's one part. This is besides uh, the deduction which is provided under section 80U of the Income Tax Act, where in case of your policy, rather, in case of a person with partial disability, he could get a insurance, rather, the deduction up to 75,000, and up to 1.25 lakh rupees if you are a severely disabled person. So that income tax deduction is there. Now, this is nothing to do with any kind of a treatment or anything. This is just a general deduction, standard deduction, and not a standard deduction, but it's a deduction that you get, provided you have a disability certificate. Earlier, you had to submit the disability certificate with your income tax return, attach it, but now it is not really required, but you got to have it with you. And in your medical treatment bills also will have to be there with you. You don't have to submit them right now, but you have to have it with you, right? So if required, you could give it to them. So about 7 years you'll have to keep those files with you, so that proves with you all the time, right? Because government may ask at it. um, um, we've covered this part, health insurance criteria, where we talked about it is about, the criteria are generally, what is your health condition right now, are there any ailments, are there any issues, stuff like that. What is your age, and then of course they conduct a lot of these health checkups, all health checks, also blood tests and some other tests also, before giving you any kind of a health insurance. um, Now, whether your insurance policy covers the corona, the COVID. Actually, of late, the government has come up with two kinds of policies on the for COVID, right? This is irrespective of, I mean, this is for all essentially, right? Actually, there have been some issues of late where a lot of companies had refused to cover the coronavirus, citing various loopholes in the policy documents, policy wordings that this ailment was not covered, and this is a pandemic, and this and that. This is an act of God and stuff like that. But the IRDA has clearly said that no, you'll have to cover the corona in the uh, corona as under your existing health insurance policies. However, the government has IRDA actually had come up with uh, two kinds of policies: Corona Rakshak and Corona Kavach. Those two policies, where you are specifically, those policies are catering to the insurance against the coronavirus, where there is a specified insurance cover for either your certain equipments that are generally not covered in your normal health insurance, like oxygen cylinder if you are having it at home, or if there's any home treatment happening for corona and stuff like that, which is all covered in different kinds of policies, right? And so the policies are Corona Rakshak and Corona Kavach.
Before moving on to the further slides, Rahulji, the couple of questions again related to the insurance policies for children with disabilities. I think
Yes.
one parent has asked if, I guess later on, if you could provide a list of few private health insurance products, those who cover autism. Would you have information like that that you can share with us?
Uh, yeah. So presently, I don't have. I haven't really done that, but it's a great idea. I would definitely do a bit of a research on that, and I will respond to that. I will maybe you could, if you could just send me an email at the end of the session. I'll share my email ID also. So so if you could just write me an email, I would try and find out that, and I'll share that information.
There's one more question by Himanshu ji saying that they have a policy with HDFC since the past 8 years. They've added their child since birth, but till the age of three, they didn't know that the child had autism. Now the company has never asked to submit the declaration every year. What does do you have any thoughts on that?
No, here, there, I don't think that there should be any issue, uh, because, see, at the time of getting the insurance, you are not aware of the child being autistic, and you got to know it later, and ever since the policy is on, so I think that shouldn't be an issue. However, unfortunately, there could be there could be occasions where uh, if the need of claim arises, there could be a bit of an issue there. But I think this issue could be resolved if we take this up with the appropriate authorities. They haven't asked for any kind of declaration. However, I don't think that really there is any requirement as of now to declare it on your own, because especially considering the kind of the lack of awareness that the insurance companies may have. Maybe a branch manager could be paranoid with that. I don't know what be his reactions. I would suggest you just let it be right now. But if you're buying a new policy, then definitely you should either declare it, or you know basically declare it, so that there's no issue at that time later on.
Thank you, Rahulji.
Great. So we have actually covered the coronavirus insurance, Corona Kavach and Corona Raksha. Um, There are some factors that you should cover, consider before buying a health insurance policy. You actually have to take care of the caps and sublimits in the policy, because see, this is another thing that we don't normally give that much of importance while we have actually been buying the health insurance. There are different kinds of sublimits and caps and stuff like that. As I said, there is a cap on room rent, there's a cap on certain other things in the insurance. Especially also I've seen there are some limits on the pregnancy, the maternity benefits. If you're claiming from the insurance companies, there are those caps and limits in that as well. So one has to be really careful and go through all the caps and sublimits of the insurance. One also have to look at the claim settlement ratio of the insurance companies. Now, it is better to have the insurance with the company which has a better ratio of claim settlement. Why is that? Because there are some insurance companies which would give you have a lower premium on your insurance, but their ratio of claim settlement could be pathetic. In that case, what happens normally is that, in case of real requirement, you may end up not getting your insurance claim settled with the insurance company, and that could be a problem. So one has to really look at that. In fact, I would, on the other hand, I would suggest you to not to give too much importance to the claim settlement ratio only, also because there are some companies which have a slightly better claim settlement ratio, but their insurance premium is extremely high. So one has to really look at the balance of it. Besides, I think if you give all the accurate information and if you are extra careful, then I think there shouldn't be the issue shouldn't be as much as we really think while settling your claim. So as I just said, less premium does not really mean the less premium means it's a good plan for me. So you got to actually look at all the exclusions, inclusions, and all sorts of caps and sublimits and the ratio of settlement and all of that stuff. So everything has to be looked at. Look at while buying the health insurance, look at the company which is giving you a good amount of cashless claim settlement, because you don't have to run around for money, or you don't have to first pay the money and get your reimbursement and stuff like that. So it is better, of course, in case of emergencies that may still have to be done, but ensure that the hospitals near you are covered under the cashless insurance scheme for this the insurance that you are buying for. We've talked about premium loading just a while back, so just we have to take care of that, considering the pre-existing ailments or any disability. The premium loading could be there, the additional premium could be there, so one has to really look at that. Right. So nowadays there is a health insurance portability. Actually, this is another benefit that we could really consider. Health insurance portability, you can actually, just like mobile phone portability, mobile number portability, you can actually buy insurance of one company, and then later on actually port it to some other company where your pre-existing benefits will be would be covered, and you could buy another company's insurance, health insurance, which could be a good claim, because if the company is not giving you great service, you could actually consider doing that also. You can port your insurance from this company to the other company. Actually, there are some policies. This is not. I mean, this is all technical stuff. This is all advanced stuff like uh, uh, restore benefit, where if you've already used your insurance for some purpose, then probably you could add. You could actually have the restore benefit also. You could actually get a top-up insurance where the top-up insurance are generally less expensive, right? You don't have to spend that much of amount for top-up insurance, because see, always you may not be able to increase your some assured health insurance amount for your policy. You could actually buy a top-up insurance. So once your this limit is exhausted, you could actually, the other limit is utilized. So you could actually buy that, considering uh, the expense of the health services is increasing all the time. So you could actually consider that. So there is a waiting period for that, for considering uh, for covering for the insurance settlement, insurance claims. You should go through the waiting period, whether it's for the pre-existing diseases, or something happens next day after you buy the insurance policy, it may not be covered. Of course, there's an exception. In case of accidents, this will be covered. Of course, you can actually go for, you can actually compare the insurance plan online. There are a lot of websites these days. There are hundreds of products, health insurance products available right now in the market, and you could actually compare a lot of these insurance products with the insurance broker companies, which are online players. There you could go, you could actually compare it. You can check whether the disability is covered under that or not, and stuff like that. And it has become really comparatively easy. This could be your first check, where you could actually shortlist some of the policies which could be useful for your requirements. There is a healthcare inclusion and stuff like that, but I think that's not so. So different kind of insurance inclusions that are there, whether there's an ambulance expense, this, that, hospital.
Rahulji, as I know we are coming close to our session
Yes.
close.
So I would.
The question
So yeah.
I have, just related to this, if I can ask you, someone has asked, for people having employer-provided group health insurance, is it better to have new medical policies, or is it better to go for top-up policy?
Now this question is, I mean, and thanks for asking that question. It's a very good question. Now, if your employer has already provided you the health insurance, you could actually go for the top up policy, because your basic. But then you'll have to actually declare first your eligibility of insurance. How much insurance is available for you and stuff like that. So that's one part of it. Now the other side of this whole thing is that your employer is giving you health insurance only till the time you are in the employment, especially if you plan to change your employment, or if you are in a private setting, uh, where maybe in IT company or some other companies also. In that case, I would suggest go for a health insurance plan instead of a top up, because uh, at the time of your retirement, or at the later time of your at the later ages, you may not get the health insurance cheap, and you may not actually, at times you may not get the health insurance at all in some cases. So it is better to have the insurance with you. However, if you are covered by group insurance, and if you are with this government sector, or if you don't want to, if you don't plan to really change your jobs, then I think having a top-up policy should be enough for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And now the last thing that I want to cover quickly is about the see, you may have, in spite of, no matter how aware we are, how careful we are, we may still have some issues while getting the insurance, or there could be occasions where the mis-selling has happened, or there's an issue with the claim settlement or anything else. Uh, in that case, you can actually go to the IRDA's website, and there is a integrated grievance redressal system, IGRS, where you could actually go and put your complaint there. And in many cases, I've seen in cases where the insurance companies deny the insurance for persons with disability, this kind of approach has helped, and people have got the health insurance. Uh, so that is the option that is there. So always keep that in mind. It's an extremely important thing to have in mind.
Okay. There's one more question, Rahulji, would you like to take that, or are you in the process of wrapping up?
So no, I can definitely take the question, no problem.
So the question is the chance of claim approval more for corporate group medical policies as compared to someone buying as an individual?
See, this is a very subjective question. Yes, now it really actually depends. Now, in terms of corporate group medical policy, uh, the insurance company is also is also concerned that they don't want to reject too many claims, because they don't want to lose that big client who's giving them maybe 10 crore premium or 20 crore premium in a year. So they don't want to lose on that client. So yes, there have been many occasions where the claim has been settled by the insurance companies, where uh, uh, there is a group insurance, and in case of individual insurance, they can always say, okay, I mean, this is obviously a business call that they take, and yes, in practical sense, you're right. However, this shouldn't be there in real way, in reality. However, uh, the experience does suggest that to me.
Okay, thank you so much. Are there any more questions for Rahulji specific to insurance policies, health insurance? If there are, please put them up in the chat box. Thank you. You can continue, Rahulji.
Yes. At the end, I would just say, and of course, I'll take up a question. But what I want to wrap up my talk, my presentation, by telling you that please have appropriate health insurance. It is extremely critical, uh, because, as I said, it could wipe out all your investments and savings in one go. So just so give it a thought, give it a definite thought, and start with some insurance, a health insurance policy. It is extremely important. And of course, uh, the the uh, emergency allocation of emergency fund, before you do anything else, I would say, start with the creation of emergency fund. Keep it separate, keep it available, keep it liquid, keep it so that it is available at the time of needs. So these two things are extremely very, very important. Right. So and thank you so much for listening to me so patiently. If there are any couple of questions, I could probably take up.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rahulji. There's just one question, and I think it's probably the same. Is there a difference between Nirmalaya and Niramaya? I think it's the same thing, right?
No, it's the same thing. Probably there's a spelling
Niramaya
mistake.
health insurance. So it's
Yeah.
the same thing that you probably are aware of, to the parent who's asked. And you all can see on your screen Rahulji's email. He's kind enough to share his number as well in case you have any specific questions. We know that in 1.5 hours, we can never usually cover what all we want to share with you, on a particular topic. So
Yes.
there are a few slides that we had to skip over, and we will be actually every month we create a takeaways, a downloadable PDF document that we summarize all the learnings that Rahulji is sharing with us. And we usually share that. It's available on the website. You can email us, you can get that information. Also, I hope that you're part of our SNIC Samarthya WhatsApp group, because we usually share all our related documents like the key takeaways handout that we'll be creating today. So whatever a couple of things that were left, like the healthcare policy inclusions and exclusions, I think those things we will put together in a document, so you'll have easy access to that information so that you wouldn't have missed anything. But our contact information is here. You can please feel free to contact us for any specific topic. As you know, we are doing this on an annual monthly basis. Here are all our list of topics that we have set up. So we hope that 25th of April is our next session, the last Sunday of each month, the same time, 11:30 India time. We are going to be working on, Rahulji is going to share with us about financial planning for your child. So it's going to be a specific topic related to financial planning and retirement planning. So I do hope that all of you come for that session. And once again, any questions you have, our information is given here. And you can message Rahulji directly, of course, or Samarthya, info@samarthya.com. That is the account that I manage, for my foundation. So I can always get you in touch with him or help answer any of the questions that you had. I hope today's I have answered all the parents' questions. I think I've gone through the chat box very well. But if there is anyone whose question was not answered, now is the time to just unmute yourself and you can quickly ask it before we wrap up the session.
Someone raised the hand, Galaxy M.
Yeah, I saw that for a while, but I'm not able to see. Galaxy M51, do you have a question for us? Your hand has been raised the whole session. I'm not sure.
Yes.
And Harshali, can you please post the link of our WhatsApp group for the families that are new who can join, and we can share the key takeaways document there. So you'll see in the chat box now that we will post the link of our WhatsApp group, which is specifically designed for SNIC Samarthya collaboration, where we post all information related to our projects. One of them being this financial planning series, but we have other projects also that we are working on. If you're not part of that group, please feel free to join. And I'm not sure, Galaxy M51, your hand is still raised. Maybe they don't have a question after all. I want to thank all the parents for being here. Like Rahulji said in the beginning, I know it's not easy. Sunday morning, utkar, with children and families and other commitments. You have taken the time to be with us and, really get the information and knowledge that Rahulji has so kindly and generously shared with us. So thank you to each one of you. And most importantly, thank you, Rahulji. It was a wonderful session.
My pleasure.
Always, we appreciate you and we appreciate your expertise. And we look forward to all of you coming back for next month's session on retirement planning, financial planning for your child. I sincerely hope that you'll come back.
Yes, and in fact, if you have any questions, keep them coming in advance also for the next session so that we can actually incorporate those in our program.
You can post it, all your questions in group, our group. We can forward them to Rahul sir, and we can take up in our next next session. That will be in every last Sunday, right?
Yes.
And thank you so much, Rahul ji. And
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Harshali, and thank you so much, Shivani. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for being here today. We'll see you soon. Take care. Have a good Sunday and happy Holi to all of you.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Happy Holi to all of you parents. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.